What's up, fantasy managers? Welcome back to another episode of the First Pitch Podcast brought to you by PitcherList.com. My name is Jake Crumpler, and as always, I'll be your host for this edition of the podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake Crumpler and can find all of my work at crumplerbaseball.com. Let's dive into everything baseball related from Sunday, May 11th. And we had some good news from Mother's Day as we had no significant IL placements. So we'll head straight into our transactions and discuss Tobias Myers, starting pitcher for the Brewers, who was optioned to the minors on Sunday, with Brandon Woodruff and Aaron Savale returning soon for the Brewers. Somebody had to leave that rotation. I thought Chad Patrick would probably be the first one to go, but Tobias Myers also had three options, and he wasn't performing particularly well since returning from an oblique injury earlier this year. So Tobias Myers out of Milwaukee. Next, we'll discuss starting pitcher Zach Eflin, who was activated from the 15-day IL to start in LA against the Angels on Sunday. He missed over a month with a lat strain and returned to pitch 5 innings, allowing 5 hits and 2 earned runs while walking 2 and striking out 5, inducing 8 whiffs with 27% CSW across 83 pitches. Zach Eflin's pretty dope. I think the year he had for the Rays a couple years ago is the outlier. He's more of a Toby than a Holly, but I still think Eflin should be rostered everywhere pitching for the O's. He's got a great chance at a win every single time he goes out, even though the Orioles have not been that great this year. I think Eflin's still pretty solid. And I will close things out with our news as starting pitcher Ryan Weathers is expected to be activated from the 15-day IL on Wednesday to start in Chicago against the Cubs. Weathers has been out for the entire season with a forearm strain, but last year he pitched to a 3.63 ERA with a 1.18 whip and a 22% strikeout rate in 16 starts. So I think Weathers is somebody that could be worth your time at some point. I'm definitely watching this Cubs start from afar. Not only is it his season debut, but he's got a little bit of a still ill here as well, returning from the injured list. The Cubs are also a scary offense, and I'm not sure what Weathers is going to be sporting coming out here. He was a fringe guy last year despite the success because he didn't have a ton of strikeouts, but he's definitely somebody that could be worth a shot down the line given the success he had last year. Now we'll take a look at some of our notable performances from Sunday, a day in which we had a full slate of 15 games. We'll start it off with our hitters, leading off with Brooks Lee, who helped the Twins to win versus the Giants, going 3 for 5 with 3 runs, a home run, and 2 runs batted in. It was his 3rd homer of the year, and it traveled 390 feet at 101 miles per hour. Brooks Lee somehow maintained his second base role when Willie Castro returned from the IL last week. I expected Castro to return to the keystone position, pushing Brooks Lee to somewhere else, probably the hot corner, but Lee maintained second base with Castro moving to the outfield. And not only that, but Brooks Lee also has moved into the cleanup spot for the Twins, which gives him plenty of RBI opportunities. He was the 8th overall pick in 2022, but he is a switch hitter who's never displayed much power in the minors, so a cleanup spot is somewhat curious, but hey, I'm not arguing. Brooks Lee is more of a contact first hitter though, but after being greater than 90% in the zone contact rate department last year, Brooks Lee has seen that rate fall below league average this year, suggesting it'll be difficult for him to maintain the sub 15% strikeout rate that he had both last year and this year. But the trade-off with the lack of contact this year has been nice, as Brooks Lee has seen his bat speed increase by 2 miles per hour, has seen his barrel rate increase by 6%, all the way up to double digits at 10%. He's also hitting more fly balls, seen his fly ball rate increase by 8%, which will allow Lee to tap into that power that he's displaying. He hasn't broken out just yet, but the ingredients are there for Brooks Lee to break out, and the role with him playing every day, batting cleanup against righties for the Twins suggests he should be rostered in 15-teamers at the very least. Next, we'll talk about Helio Ramos on the other side of that game against Brooks Lee as the Giants lost in Minnesota. He went 2 for 2 with a run, a home run, and four RBIs and a walk. It was Ramos' 7th homer of the year, and it traveled 407 feet at 105 miles per hour. I was very intrigued by Ramos in the draft season, not just because I'm a Giants fan, but because his breakout campaign last year was completely supported by strong StatCast metrics, and he had a secure role playing in San Francisco. I expected Ramos to hit in the middle of that lineup, have plenty of run scoring opportunities, and the Giants outfield mix isn't super deep, so that role was very secure, and he's done exactly what I expected him to do this year. He's been continuing to bat in the middle of that Giants lineup with a around 260 average and on pace for 25 homers or more. And with 3 steals already, he's on his way to double digits in that department as well. And I think the 278 batting average that he's sporting at the moment is supported by improved contact metrics as well. So I think not only the pace that Ramos put up last year is something that he is capable of doing again this year and is suggested by the underlying metrics that he's going to do that again this year, but it's looking like he can take another step forward as he continues to improve at the plate in the contact department. And I think Helio Ramos needs to be rostered universally. Lastly, we'll discuss George Springer as he helped the Blue Jays to a win in Seattle, going 2 for 5 with 2 runs, a double, a home run, and 3 runs batted in. It was his 5th homer of the year, and it traveled 416 feet at 112 miles per hour. It was the 5th furthest hit ball on Sunday and the 5th hardest hit ball. George Springer, though, had a great game on Sunday, but that was after back-to-back decline seasons where Springer remained very fantasy relevant because of his counting stats. Springer has done there was a lot of doubt around Springer. Sorry, lost my train of thought a little bit. But yeah, Springer was not great the past couple of seasons, but he somehow remained fantasy relevant because of his ability to steal bases and hit a lot of home runs while playing every day. But there were still doubts surrounding Springer this draft season. I, for one, was somebody that pounced on him at his ADP, and I've been extremely happy with his performance thus far. He's batting .297, 5 homers, 6 steals, and a .921 OPS. And I think this is very real. Not only is it supported by a career high 16% barrel rate and a 49% hard hit rate, but Springer is also displaying a completely different approach at the plate. He's being much more patient. He's looking to lift the ball more. He's got a career high 15% walk rate, and he's returned his fly ball rate to over 40%. Obviously, Springer's 385 BABIP is unsustainable, which means he's likely to bat closer to 260 moving forward, but the power has definitely returned, and this resurgence from George Springer is real. But if you'd like a breakdown of other notable hitting performances from Sunday, check out the daily Batters Box article over on PitcherList.com. Now we'll head to the mound and check out some notable starting pitching performances, opening with Sandy Alcantara, who did all he could, but the Marlins lost in Chicago to the White Sox. He tossed 5 2/3 innings, allowing 7 hits and 4 earned runs while walking 3 and striking out 8, inducing 8 whiffs with 26% CSW across 107 pitches. And it's not looking good for Sandy right now after getting roughed up by the Dodgers last week. I don't think many people were starting him there, considering what his ERA was at, but we weren't really expecting him to do well either. But here, coming against the White Sox, I think we were expecting Sandy to be able to handle that, but he couldn't do that. His 4-seamer was his most successful pitch in this one with 5 whiffs and 27% CSW, but it also earned just 59% strikes. And so he failed to find the zone with that pitch. He also failed to find the zone with the curveball, just 48% strikes there, and the changeup, just 25% strikes there, which forced Sandy to flood the zone with sinkers for 84% strikes and 37% CSW. And it worked until a 3-run shot with 2 outs in the 6th did him in. So Sandy was very close here. I think Nick would label this a careful Icarus, but Sandy, I think he's still fine. His stuff is still intact, but clearly the polish on his locations is missing. He could not find the zone with anything but the sinker on Sunday. He gets the Rays next. I think that's a pretty soft matchup for him to rebound, though I am getting scared. He's got an 8.10 ERA and a 1.64 whip. It's not looking good for Sandy. I'm going to hold on for a little bit longer because I love him so much and I really want him to succeed. And he's just got such incredible, undeniable stuff. But I don't blame you if you want to drop him at this point. He couldn't even handle the White Sox. Next, we'll discuss Ronny Blanco, who helped the Astros to win versus the Reds, tossing 8 shutout innings, allowing just 2 hits and 1 walk, while striking out 11. He induced 16 whiffs with 36% CSW across 101 pitches and have a day. Ronny Blanco, he earned the King Cole on the day as he led baseball with that 36% CSW. Everything was glove side to right-handed batters for Ronny Blanco as he mixed speeds with his fastball, slider, and curveball, and then the changeup mixed in versus lefties. His secondaries did most of the work here as the fastball wasn't great, but the slider was immaculate at 40% usage for 9 whiffs and 40% CSW. And that was the pitch Blanco was missing early on, and it was the pitch that drove last year's breakout. I discussed this a few weeks ago, or I think it was a couple weeks ago, when Blanco finally started to get on track. And now he's had that slider cooking for a few starts now. And I think he needs to be rostered everywhere because of it. His arsenal is working in concert, and he's having so much success. That slider combined with the high vert fastball, the curveball, and the changeup is a very devastating arsenal, and he's got a good offense and defense behind him for the Astros. Blanco gets the Rangers in Texas next, and I think I'm starting him there for sure. Lastly, we have Lucas Giolito as he helped the Red Sox to win in Kansas City, tossing 6 2/3 scoreless innings, allowing 2 hits and 2 walks while striking out 5. He induced 10 whiffs with 27% CSW across 88 pitches. And I was really glad to see Giolito find some success here. His first 2 starts were a mixed bag, but he definitely solidified his spot on fantasy rosters yesterday. And I'll cut right to the chase, as Giolito was almost exclusively fastball change last time out when he got absolutely roughed up. But in this one, he incorporated his slider more than the slow ball, which was a pitch that he basically didn't throw in his first 2 starts. And he got 5 whiffs and 32% CSW on that pitch in this one, while Giolito's heater filled up the zone at 94 miles per hour after sitting 91.5 last time out, and he earned 10 called strikes and 4 whiffs with the fastball. The change wasn't really effective, but it worked as a strike pitch against left-handed batters, while he threw 9 ineffective curves. However, the expansion of the arsenal is really what we wanted to see from Giolito. That fastball and changeup combination are great, but he needs a couple extra pitches to help him get through lineups multiple times and not get roughed up when one of the fastball or changeup isn't working. And I think that gives me the confidence to start Giolito versus the Braves next. But if you'd like a breakdown of every single start from Sunday, give the Plus Pitch podcast a listen and check out Nick's daily SP roundup over on pitcherlist.com. Now we'll head to the bullpen and check out the relievers that got saves and the closers that pitched outside of save situations or blew their saves. Starting with the former, Trevor McGill recorded his 5th save with a perfect 9th. Aroldis Chapman recorded his 6th save with a scoreless 9th. Cam Boozer recorded save number 1 with a perfect 9th. It looks like he's the closer for the White Sox, but I'm not sure how many saves they're going to be getting this season. And lastly, Jordan Romano recorded his 3rd save with a perfect 9th. Jose Alvarado pitched in that one. He had a perfect 8th, earning his 4th hold in the process. In terms of closers to pitch outside of save situations or blow their saves, Ryan Walker surrendered 2 runs in the 10th to blow his 2nd save and take his 2nd loss. It looks like Camilo Doval is going to be in that closer role anytime now. Yohan Duran definitely benefited from that one. He allowed the zombie runner to score in the 10th, but he earned his first win when the Twins walked it off in the bottom half against Ryan Walker. Edwin Diaz pitched a perfect 9th, up by 4. The Mets put up 4 runs in the 8th, so it sort of makes sense that Diaz was ready to pitch in that one. Tanner Scott pitched a perfect 8th, up by 4. The Dodgers are off today, so I guess they just wanted to make sure he had some work before the off day. Raisel Iglesias entered in a tie game for the Braves and allowed the Pirates to walk it off and took his 3rd loss in the process. Felix Bautista allowed a run, pitching the 9th, up by 5. The Orioles are off today, so sort of same situation as Tanner Scott here. And lastly, Emmanuel Clase pitched a hitless 9th, down by 3. He hadn't pitched since Wednesday, so this was clearly a maintenance outing. But if you'd like more information on relievers, make sure to check out Rick Graham's weekly articles over on pitcherlist.com. And before we look forward to today's games, we're going to take a quick break. Now we'll look forward to Monday, May 12th, a day in which we'll have just 11 games on the slate. My matchup of the day is Christopher Sanchez versus Matthew Liberatore. We got a pair of southpaws. Should be a fun matchup. I mean, we are trying to see what's up with Christopher Sanchez. Is he healthy? Can he get that changeup back? I'm excited to see what he does in this one versus the Cardinals. While on the other side, Matthew Liberatore looked really great last time out as he was able to take down a bunch of righties with the incorporation of a cutter and a changeup. And I'm looking to see that expanded arsenal continue to have success here against the Phillies. In terms of probable starters, we've got 5 guys in the auto starts tier, including Christopher Sanchez. We've also got Paul Skeens in New York against the Mets, Max Fried in Seattle, and Michael King versus the Angels. Our probably starts tier has 5 guys, and that's where we'll find our streamer of the day in Colin Ray versus the Marlins. Ray has shown increased fastball velocity this year that has allowed him to find some success. But even without that, he's a solid Toby against the Marlins, who are a low or a poor offense. And I think he should be able to get away with a win or a quality start there. That's Colin Ray versus the Marlins. I'd also keep an eye out for Ryan Gusto versus the Royals. He's returning to the rotation with Hayden Wesneski heading to the IL. And the Royals aren't the scariest lineup. Gusto's got a great fastball, but the rest of the arsenal is sort of lacking. So not a great start here. He's a questionable start in Nick's probable starters, and I don't think this is a great day for streaming. Not a lot of options that are available in a lot of leagues, but if you're really desperate, Gusto is somebody that could possibly find some success against the Royals. In terms of hitter suggestions, I go for Cubs hitters versus Cal Quantrill and his 7.11 ERA. I mean, enough said there. The Cubs offense is awesome. If you can find any part of that offense to stream on Monday, you're going to find success, especially against somebody like Cal Quantrill, who is not great most of the time. I'd also look at Rangers hitters versus Chase Dollander and his 7.71 ERA. Obviously, he's a rookie. He's got some great stuff, but he's pitching outside of Coors. Just being a Rockies pitcher is really tough, says the 7+ ERA. Rangers hitters should be able to take advantage of Chase Dollander on Monday. Now we'll close things out with our relievers to watch. Edwin Diaz is pitched on back-to-back days, so I'd expect Ryan Stanek to get a shot in the ninth on Monday. Porter Hodge is pitched on back-to-back days, and Ryan Presley is sort of on timeout for the Cubs, so maybe we see Daniel Palencia get a save opportunity for the Cubs on Monday. And lastly, Trevor McGill is pitched on back-to-back days, but so is Abner Uribe, so maybe we see Nick Mears get a save opportunity for the Brewers on Monday. But that'll do it for today's episode of the First Pitch Podcast. Make sure to head on over to pitcherlist.com to check out all of the great articles and features we have on the site. Sign up for PL Plus or PL Pro to gain access to the Discord and to support the Pitcher List staff. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake Crumpler. Tune in live on YouTube tomorrow and every day for a new installment of the podcast. And make sure to enjoy the day as we are blessed with another day of baseball.